Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is the SU-122A. It's the Tier 5 Soviet SPG. It's located on the south spawn of Cliff, and this one is under the command of beatasianoobs. Now, he's got 2 marks of excellence on the barrel, and we're almost ready to start. Game on! Well, as you can see straight away, it looks very much like an SU-76. Basically, it's the same sort of design, but of course this Arty was never built by the Soviets. They never went ahead and built the SU-122A, but they did build an SU-122. And in fact, actually, it is in the game, because if you actually put a 122mm howitzer on the SU-85, that is basically an SU-122 by another name, except it doesn't quite look exactly right. The Soviets did build the SU-122, and they built a number of them, but Wargaming's just not put them into the game at all. T-3485M looks like he's trying to get to the donut as fast as he can. The T-52 managed to get there first, but we're looking up the hill, and yes, we've got a Skoda T-25 trying to get up there. Lovely first hit, big hit, 275. Now this one does have the 152mm howitzer, which is capable of 550 alpha, 38mm of pen, 6.7 meters on damage radius, between 6 and 11 seconds of stun. Now it looks like the enemy have managed to get control of the western pass and the donut, but they haven't got control of the hill. Funnily enough, one of our tanks managed to get up there just before that Skoda, and they managed to take control. Whoa, that's a quick counter battery fire. There's 2 enemy Artys, an AMX-13F3 and an M41 HMC. And I think beatasianoobs just showed you that the best way to avoid being hit by the enemy is to move. Oh, another tracer showing the shell landing on our side of the field. In fact, that one went after the Stug 3 Aslains on our team, who's just holding a little way back from the western pass. You can see that there's a number of enemy tanks on that area. In fact, it looks like they're actually deficient on tanks on the cliff side and, of course, on top of the hill, because our A43 managed to get up there. Now we've got a shot on the KV-1, but he backs away. He obviously knows that he has to be careful. There are a few tanks, though, on the donut we might be able to hit. There's a T-3485M up there. Looking over to the cliffside, you can see, yes, the Skoda got frightened off where he was and it's actually gone to the edge. But, of course, he can be seen by our teammates, especially by beatasianoobs here. He's just trying to look around for the target that he can hit the easiest. Of course, sometimes it does help just to go after the enemy tank that you can do the most damage with. Oh, very close. He moved, but he's changed position there to avoid counter battery. And in fact, I just heard the rumble. Yep, the enemy RT just tried to fire at us. So he missed us and he hit the ground where we were just previously. So whenever you hear that rumble in the distance, if you don't have RT detection or sound detection, that's normally because you'll listen for that rumble instead. That tells you where to go, when to move. He's right up against the very edge of the map there. And again, we hear the rumble, so another RT on the way in and missed us again. Okay, these 2 guys here duking it out, the Panzer IV Arsenal H and a KV-1. There's that Skoda up on top of the hill. He's trying to help his teammates, but he's actually going to end up getting hit. Yep, direct hit there, beautiful shot. Lovely shot, very accurate. He judged correctly exactly where the enemy tank was going to be and put a shell straight in there. Now, the SU-122, like other Soviet Artys, doesn't have much of an arc. It actually only has 15 degrees, 7.5 degrees either side of the center line. And that means it also takes a little while to dial in. Oh, good shot! Another good one. And you can see this time round, they were closer to us. They did get some some stun on us. So he was working on the basis of where we were. We actually just drove back from our previous firing position, and the enemy actually went long and hit behind us. Go for it again. Rounds out the BDR. Direct hit. Now he's changing position. Another rumble. Yep, there you go. He's trying to hit us again. Just keep moving about after you shoot, and normally that takes up the time whilst you're waiting to fire. He's dialing in on the Skoda T25. Another one they've got. Rounds out. Direct hit right into the side. Changes position again. And there again they miss. They keep trying to nail him, but they keep failing. Unfortunately, we just lost a Hellcat. In fact, now there's nobody between us and the enemy on the Western Pass, but it looks like most of the enemy are up the other side of the map, and the ELC just tried to ram our A43, which is a bad move, because the A43 is basically a T-34 upgrade. And we'll place a shell in there. You can see they're still trying to counter battery us, but they're still failing because they just... You notice that beatasianoobs keeps moving, keeps changing position. Okay, the T-78's trying to get up the hill. Now, he does have a big 90mm gun. The A43 is still up there, but the T-78 gets wiped out by our Achilles. Rounds out in the T-34. Direct hit! 214. It's a non-penetrating shot, but it's still valuable. Unfortunately, we do lose the A43. We just got stunned. So that shell was very close to us. I think it was just alongside us, but it didn't do any damage. KV-1, not fully dialed in yet. Very narrow arc, as I said, which means, of course, you might get red with your bloom. He decided not to shoot because there's a T-34 up on the hill, and he wants that instead. That's lined up, rounds out, and yes! He took him out. That's his second kill in the game. Again, he's changed position. The Hummel's moving. There's only 3 enemy left now. The KV-1 is the only tank they've got, and he's only got 1 hit point. And here comes the enemy Arty, and M41's driven in. He's come up against our Hummel. Unfortunately, he does take out the Hummel, but let's see what we can do. Rouse out. Yep, he goes. Yeah, he stayed around too long, and he got wiped out in return. And that means now there's only the AMX-13F3, and he is nearby. And we've just platooned with the Achilles, and I think we're going down to try and spot the enemy. There is the enemy. He's the AMX-13F3. He's come up against our M4A3 76 wet, and there's it. He's gone. That's it. They've won the game. Well, that was a very good demonstration of why you should move after each shot in the SU-122A. Yes, it sometimes does pay off, because if the enemy is hot on counter battery, and I suspect it was probably the AMX-13F3AM that was doing most of the counter battery work, because the M41 is a bit like the SU-122A. It's not very easy to get accurate shots. It's got problems with its gun handling, a bit like the SU-122A. It takes a long time to dial in on the target. That was an ace tanker game for beatasianoobs in the SU-122A. He managed to get a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits in that game. He managed to get 12. And he got a brothers in arms for being in platoon with somebody else who managed to get at least 3 kills as well. In fact, it was the Achilles, and he managed to get 4 kills in that game, along with the 3 kills that beatasianoobs managed to get. Let's have a look at team score. Well, the highest damage in the game turned out to be the T-3485M. Yes, it was the enemy tank. It was sitting on the hill, on the slope, and actually shooting at our teammates from that position. He got 2,767 hit points, picked up a fire for effect fighter, duelist, bruiser, and a high caliber. The second highest damage was the Achilles, who got 1,832, our platoon mate. And in third place, yes, it's beatasianoobs with 1,639. When it came to kills, though, it was still that T-3485M. He managed to get 5 kills from that position, which is a very dangerous position to be in, actually, on that slope on the hill, because if you're sitting there, you are vulnerable to Arty fire. And of course, it did work out against him there, because you can see that T-3485M was killed by beatasianoobs in the end. It didn't work out well for him. But he got 5 kills. 4 kills went to the Achilles, 3 kills went to beatasianoobs. And when it came to base XP, it's the Hellcat who did the best. The M18 Hellcat, who was sitting on the corner next to the Western Pass, he got 939 base XP. Second highest was the SU-122 of, no, actually it was the T-3485M, sorry, I'm wrong. He got 792, based on the fact that he did masses of damage in that game. Even though he was in the losing team, he still managed to get 792 base. And we can see third place does go to beatasianoobs with 779, so not far behind. He fired only 12 rounds in the game. Now, this Arty used to have only 12 rounds of ammo, so you can see why it's very easy in this Arty to actually end up with a Faden's medal if you were getting the last enemy tank. And we can see there that that AMX-13 F3AM was the last enemy, and, well, you can see beatasianoobs was driving towards him. He'd already killed the M41 HMC, so it was only a matter of getting rid of that AMX. And of course, if he tried to, it would have been his 13th shot. But back then, it was much easier to get Fadens using the SU-122. Now, you actually get 18 rounds of ammunition, so it's a little easier to fight the game because you've got more rounds available. He got 7 direct hits on the enemy, and one of them was a penetrating shot. He got 10 splash, 1,639 hit points, all of it at more than 300 meters. Now, I'm curious as to know which one he actually penetrated. It turned out it was the M41 HMC. They don't have much armor. Most of the equipment's actually on the outside of the vehicle. And so if they do get hit with a round, a direct hit, it's more than likely going to penetrate. Very thin armor on an M41 based on the Chaffee tank. We go back to the details, we can see he did receive 2 hits by way of splash. The enemy was desperately trying to counter-battery him. Was fairly good, actually, because they were getting the shots in the right place. It's just beatasianoobs was moving after he took a shot and making it more difficult for them to work out where he was. He got 8 direct enemy vehicles damaged, I should say, 3 destroyed, and 198 hit points of damage assist, and 456 of stun assist of 8 stuns. Now, on a premium count, he actually made a profit of 8,954 credits. And he also took away 2,338 experience points out of that game as well. But a brilliant explanation or demonstration of the fact that you should move after every shot. I must admit, I don't always do that, unless, of course, the enemy RT does try to fire in my direction. If I hear that rumble in the distance, I know the enemy RT is after me. Most of the time, I don't put my crew skills on sound detection. I do actually try to focus on the ones which I can definitely use. And so if I ever do get to the point that I put sound detection on, I'll know that the enemy is aiming directly at me. But I listen for that rumble during the battle, and that obviously tells me if the shell's coming my direction. And if I know the enemy is firing in my direction, I keep moving to change position to avoid the counter battery. At the start of this game, beatasianoobs wasn't under threat, but the moment he heard that rumble, he did start moving. And of course, he then played a case of whack-a-mole with the enemy RT. I hope you enjoyed that replay. If you did, please give this video a like, do subscribe to our channel, leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm, and thank you for watching.